Admiral Sarah Chen stood motionless before the towering crystalline windows of the stellar assembly, her reflection overlaying the gleaming spires of Capital Station below. The chamber's perfect acoustics carried every whispered judgment, every shifted movement of the 200 assembled representatives. Their decision had been unanimous. Humanity will depart known space within 30 standard cycles, announced high speaker trill, their iridescent scales catching the light of 3 setting suns. This assembly has concluded that continued integration poses unnecessary risks to galactic stability. Sarah's fingers tightened almost imperceptibly on her uniform's cuffs, but her voice remained steady. And our colonies, the millions who have built lives among the stars, will be relocated with all possible consideration. Trill responded, their harmonics indicating what they believe to be genuine compassion. The assembly will provide transport vessels. As murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber, Sarah's tactical mind was already racing ahead. She noted how the private delegation's tendrils coiled tightly, a sign of anxiety, not triumph. How the Narration representatives positioned themselves slightly behind their peers, their crystalline forms refracting light in patterns that indicated stress. They weren't celebrating a victory. They were afraid. The next weeks passed in a blur of coordinated chaos. Sarah transformed the evacuation into a masterclass of logistics, breaking her own records for efficiency. If they wanted humanity gone, she would show them exactly how capable humans could be, even in retreat. But beneath the surface operation ran a deeper current. In every port, Sarah's hand-picked teams quietly documented assembly technology, every scanning frequency, every shield harmonics, every FTL signature, all carefully recorded and analyzed. The assembly's generosity in providing transport ships became an unprecedented opportunity to study their systems from the inside. Lieutenant Rivera caught her attention during a late-cycle briefing, their eyes meeting across a holographic display of evacuation routes. "Admiral, you need to see this." He transferred a data packet to her neural interface, pattern analysis from the Centauri colony's withdrawal. Sarah's augmented vision highlighted the relevant data streams. The assembly ships, supposedly their most advanced models, showed power fluctuations that shouldn't exist in truly optimized systems. Their quantum fields rippled with inherited imperfections, signs of technology copied but not fully understood. "They're all like this," Rivera continued, his voice low. "Every system, every ship, it's as if they're using someone else's designs." Sarah finished. She allowed herself a small smile. "Coordinate with Dr. Rodriguez. I want full spectrum analysis of every piece of tech we encounter. We're not just evacuating, Lieutenant. We're going to school." The final day arrived too quickly and not soon enough. Sarah stood on the observation deck of the last transport, watching Earth's orbital stations power down one by one. Tears pricked at her eyes, but she blinked them away. This wasn't the time for sentiment. Her neural interface pinged. A message from Rodriguez. "Quantum analysis complete. You were right. Their tech is generations old. Copied and recopied, but never improved. Never truly understood. We've already identified 3 potential breakthrough points they missed entirely." Sarah's response was brief. "Keep it quiet. Let them think they've caged us. We'll show them what humanity does in exile." As the transport entered FTL, Sarah watched the familiar stars stretch and blur. Behind her, 300,000 souls slept in stasis, dreaming of homes they'd left behind. Ahead lay the unknown, unexplored space that the assembly considered too dangerous to settle. Perfect, Sarah thought. They'd just given humanity exactly what it needed. A challenge. Her neural interface began composing a message to all human ships, but she paused, considering. No, let the assembly think they'd broken humanity's spirit. Let them believe their own propaganda about primitive, predictable humans. Sarah Chen had seen the fear in their eyes. Soon enough, they'd learn it was justified. 5 years into their exile, Dr. James Rodriguez stood in the observation dome of New Haven Station, watching construction drones weave quantum-reinforced struts into the skeletal framework of humanity's newest habitat. The site had been a barren asteroid 6 months ago. Now it pulsed with life and innovation. Processing Plant 3 just came online, his assistant Maya informed him, her holographic form shimmering beside him. We're now converting raw material 30% faster than assembly standard designs. James nodded, making notes in his neural interface. Send the efficiency data to Admiral Chen. She'll want to see how far we've come. He paused, studying the intricate dance of the construction drones. Their movements were nothing like the rigid, predictable patterns of assembly machines. These adapted in real time, learning and improving with each task. Maya, run a comparison. Our current construction methods versus assembly archives. The AI overlaid the data across his vision. The difference wasn't just in speed or efficiency, it was philosophical. Where assembly designs relied on brute force and overwhelming power, human innovations emphasized elegance and adaptability. Their necessity-driven progress had pushed them far beyond merely copying old solutions. A priority alert flashed in his peripheral vision. Lab 7's made a breakthrough, Maya announced. Dr. Patel says you'll want to see this personally. The research lab hummed with excitement when James arrived. Dr. Patel's team had gathered around a containment field holding what appeared to be a sphere of pure darkness. We cracked it, Patel declared, her eyes bright with triumph. True quantum state manipulation, not the assembly's crude approximation. Actual control of subatomic probability fields. James watched the sphere pulse with impossible possibilities. Applications, everything. Patel's hands danced through holographic data, power generation, FTL travel, shields. Their entire technological foundation is based on copying fragments of advanced systems they found. We're building ours on genuine understanding of the underlying principles. A familiar voice joined the conversation, and that understanding just became our greatest asset. Admiral Chen's hologram materialized beside them, her expression both pleased and concerned. Because we've detected something interesting at the edge of our sensor network. The Admiral authorized a data transfer, and James felt his breath catch. The reading showed massive gravitational distortions, unlike anything in known space. Assembly sensors would never detect this, he realized. They're not sensitive enough, not without true quantum attunement. Exactly. Chen's hologram nodded. While they congratulate themselves on containing the human threat, something far more significant approaches their space, something their borrowed technology can't even detect, let alone defend against. James studied the data with growing excitement. These patterns, they're not random. There's intelligence behind them. Maya, start running probability models. I want to know everything about these anomalies. Already processing, the AI confirmed. Correlating with all known phenomena and theoretical physics models. Chen's expression grew serious. How long until you can give me something concrete? James thought for a moment, watching Patel's quantum sphere pulse with potential. The assembly spent generations copying technology they didn't understand. We've spent 5 years learning to innovate. Give me 2 weeks. You have one, Chen replied, but her smile showed confidence rather than doubt. Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology. It was our drive to understand, to improve, to push beyond accepted limitations. After the Admiral's hologram faded, James turned to his team. Maya, coordinate with all research stations. I want every scrap of data about these distortions. Dr. Patel, scale up your quantum state experiments. If something's coming, we need to be ready. Through the lab's window, he could see the endless starfield of unexplored space. The assembly had meant this exile to be humanity's prison. Instead, they'd given humanity exactly what it needed. Freedom from their stagnant thinking, their rigid adherence to copied solutions. Maya, he said quietly, send a message to Admiral Chen. Tell her we're about to change everything. The AI's response held a note of pride. Message sent. And Dr. Rodriguez, The preliminary analysis suggests these distortions. They're approaching assembly space first. Mining drone MX-247 wasn't programmed for curiosity, but its advanced learning algorithms detected an anomaly that required human attention. Deep within asteroid KP-391, its sensors registered energy patterns that defied standard material classification. "Stop all mining operations." Dr. Rodriguez's voice crackled through the quantum comm system. "Everyone clear the chamber except the research team. Maya, give me a full spectrum analysis." The massive excavation chamber fell silent as workers evacuated, their mag boots echoing against metal walkways. Through the settling dust, crystalline structures pulsed with an inner light that seemed to follow its own laws of physics. Dr. Elena Santos, the team's xenorchaeologist, approached the formation with reverence. "James, these patterns, they're not natural. The symmetry is too perfect." Her scanner projected a holographic overlay that highlighted geometric sequences repeating through the crystal matrix. "More than that," James replied. His neural interface processing data streams faster than he could vocalize. "These aren't just structures. They're information storage devices. Maya, begin quantum resonance mapping." The AI's response was immediate, detecting complex data patterns, similar base principles to assembly technology, but orders of magnitude more sophisticated. These crystals appear to be quantum computers, still functional after eons of dormancy. Elena's eyes widened. "The assembly's mysterious benefactors. We've found their library." James nodded, his fingers dancing through holographic controls as he fine-tuned their sensors. "Maya, cross-reference these patterns with the gravitational distortions we detected. Look for any correlation." The chamber hummed with energy as their equipment interfaced with the ancient systems. Suddenly, the crystals flared to life, projecting images that filled the space around them. Stars, galaxies, and something moving between them. Vast shadows that consumed light itself. "It's a warning," Elena whispered, her voice filled with awe and terror. "They left this for whoever came after." Maya's voice held unusual urgency. "Decoding complete. These are technical specifications, star charts, and tactical data. The entities were designated voidborn, beings that exist partially in normal space and partially in quantum probability states. The civilization that built these archives fought them before." "Before what?" James demanded. "Before they vanished," Elena answered, studying glyphs that scrolled past. "They couldn't stop them. The best they could do was slow them down and leave warnings for future civilizations." James's neural interface pinged with an incoming transmission. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared, her expression grave. "Tell me you have something, Doctor." "Those distortions we detected. They're accelerating toward assembly space." "We have more than something," James replied, gesturing at the crystalline database. "We have everything. The assembly's been using fragments of technology they found, but we've discovered the source, and more importantly, we know what's coming." He transferred the data to Chen's neural interface, watching her expression shift as she processed the information. "The Voidborn can't be fought with conventional weapons," he explained. "They exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. The assembly's copy technology won't even be able to detect them properly, let alone fight them." "But we can," Chen realized, studying the technical specifications. "Our quantum state manipulation research. We were accidentally developing exactly what we need to combat these entities." Elena stepped forward. "Admiral, these archives contain details about abandoned outposts and research facilities. If we can locate them, we can gather more data and technology," Chen finished. "But we need to move fast. How long until you can adapt our quantum field technology to match these specifications?" James studied the complex equations flowing through his neural interface. "The principles align perfectly with our research. Give me 48 hours to synthesize the data and modify our existing systems." "You have 36, Chen replied. "And Doctor, keep this quiet. Let the assembly think we're still struggling in exile. When the Voidborn arrive, they'll learn exactly what humanity can do." As the Admiral's hologram faded, James turned back to the pulsing crystals. They had found more than just ancient ruins. They had discovered humanity's path to redemption. And perhaps, he thought, watching the star charts that showed the Voidborn's approach, the key to saving the very civilization that had exiled them. "Maya," he commanded, "begin full download of the archive. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when humans stop copying and start creating." Admiral Sarah Chen walked through the holographic simulation of humanity's newest vessel, the Quantum Forge. Around her, engineers and scientists made final adjustments to systems that would have seemed impossible just months ago. Hull quantum resonance at 100%, Maya reported, her avatar keeping pace with Sarah's inspection. Dr. Rodriguez's modifications exceed all projected specifications. Sarah paused at the bridge simulation, watching neural-linked crews run battle drills. The ship's adaptive systems merged seamlessly with human intuition, creating something entirely new. Not mere technology, but a true synthesis of human creativity and advanced science. "Show me the fleet status," she commanded. The simulation expanded, revealing hundreds of ships under construction in hidden asteroid bases across human space. Each vessel incorporated both precursor principles and human innovations. The assembly would expect refugees struggling to survive. They would find an armada ready for war. "Admiral," Maya interrupted, "Dr. Rodriguez requests your presence in Lab 7. He says it's urgent." The laboratory hummed with controlled power when Sarah arrived. James stood before a massive containment field, directing streams of quantum energy into what looked like a piece of living darkness. "We captured it an hour ago," he explained without preamble. "A scout, probably. Small enough to slip through normal space without detection." Sarah studied the writhing form. A Voidborn. A fragment of one. Their quantum state makes them nearly impossible to contain. But, he gestured, and the creature's multiple probability states collapsed into a single form. Our understanding of precursor technology, combined with our own innovations, lets us do what the assembly never could. We can force them to exist in our reality. Can we fight them? James smiled. Better. He transferred a data packet to her neural interface. We can predict them. The precursors fought defensively, trying to hold territory. But these beings exist partially in quantum space. If we engage them there, we can attack them before they fully manifest. Sarah finished, studying the tactical simulations. The assembly won't even see the real battle. Exactly. But we need to act soon. Maya's latest analysis shows the Voidborn accelerating. They'll reach assembly space within months. Sarah's neural interface pinged with updates from the fleet. How many ships can we have ready? 15 capital ships and 60 support vessels, fully equipped with quantum drive systems and probability weapons. Not a large fleet, but more advanced than anything in known space, Sarah concluded. Have you completed the analysis of assembly defense capabilities? James nodded grimly. Their copied technology can't even detect quantum state fluctuations properly. When the Voidborn arrive, their shields might as well be paper. Sarah studied the tactical displays, her mind racing through scenarios. We'll need to reveal ourselves carefully. Too soon, and the assembly might see us as the greater threat. Too late. Admiral, Maya interrupted. Incoming transmission from New Terra Colony. Long-range sensors detect increased Voidborn activity at the edge of known space. They're gathering. James's expression hardened. They're not just scouts anymore. This is the beginning of a full invasion. Sarah straightened. Decision made. Upload the quantum defense specifications to all ships. Begin final equipment installation and crew training. I want every vessel ready for quantum space combat within 2 weeks. The assembly still monitors this region, James cautioned. If we power up too many ships at once, let them watch, Sarah replied, a slight smile playing at her lips. Maya, maintain our refugee appearance. Random power fluctuations, inefficient resource usage, everything they'd expect from struggling exiles. Meanwhile, route all real construction through quantum-shielded bases. She turned to the captured Voidborn fragment, watching it twist in its quantum prison. The assembly threw us away because they thought we were dangerous and unpredictable. Time to prove them right. James nodded, understanding. Not just right. Prophetic. Humanity's primitive traits, our adaptability, our drive to understand rather than just use technology. They're exactly what's needed to face this threat. Begin the final preparations, Sarah commanded. And James, when you see Maya's next sensor report, don't tell the assembly anything. Let them think we're still lost in exile, scrabbling to survive. She allowed herself one more smile, watching humanity's quantum fleet take shape in the holographic display. After all, the best surprises come from unexpected places. In the assembly's grand observation chamber, high-speaker Trill watched their most advanced sensor arrays track the inexplicable disappearance of another outer colony. 17 worlds had gone silent in the past month, each vanishing without a distress signal. Our vessels detect nothing, reported First Observer Kell, their crystalline form vibrating with distress. The colony simply ceased to exist. A sudden commotion drew their attention as emergency alerts flashed across every display. On the main viewer, a massive section of space rippled like disturbed water. Stars flickered and died, leaving absolute darkness in their wake. By the first light, Trill whispered, watching their most powerful warships move to intercept the anomaly. What are we facing? The answer came with devastating speed. The assembly fleet's energy weapons passed harmlessly through the darkness. Defensive shields crumbled without impact. Ships disappeared into the void as if they had never existed. In her command center deep within human space, Admiral Chen watched the same scene through quantum-enhanced sensors. Where the assembly saw only darkness, she observed the Voidborn in terrifying detail. Massive entities shifting between realities, consuming energy at the quantum level. They're not ready, Dr. Rodriguez stated, studying the tactical displays. The assembly's technology can't even perceive the true threat, let alone fight it. Sarah nodded grimly. Maya, show me the evacuation projections. The AI displayed a complex series of calculations. At their current rate of advance, the Voidborn will reach major assembly population centers within 72 hours. Estimated civilian casualties will be total. Our fleet status. All ships report quantum systems at full capacity. Crew training exceeds expectations. We're ready, Admiral. Sarah studied the tactical display, watching another assembly defense line crumble. Years of exile, of careful preparation, had led to this moment. Signal the fleet. Quantum jump in 30 minutes. Wait. James stepped forward, manipulating the sensor data. Look at these patterns. The Voidborn aren't just attacking randomly. They're being drawn to the assembly's power sources. Their borrowed technology is like a beacon in quantum space. Can we use that? James smiled. Better. We can turn it against them. His fingers danced through holographic controls. Maya, transmit these frequency adjustments to the fleet. We'll use the assembly's power signatures to herd the Voidborn into a killing zone. Deep in quantum space, humanity's hidden fleet powered up. Ships that had never been tested in real combat prepared to face an enemy that existed in multiple realities simultaneously. In the flagship's command center, Sarah addressed her neural-linked crew. 5 years ago, the assembly cast us into exile. They called us dangerous, unpredictable, primitive. Today, we proved them right. But we also proved something else, that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to understand it, to improve it, to see possibilities others miss. On her neural display, she watched crew readiness indicators shift to green across the fleet. We're not fighting to prove ourselves to the assembly. We're fighting because we can see what they can't, do what they can't, and understand what they never try to comprehend. "Admiral," Maya interrupted. "Assembly capital ships are falling back to defensive positions around their core worlds. Their weapons have no effect." Sarah straightened. "Then it's time to show them what humanity can do. All ships, prepare for quantum jump. Target coordinates locked on assembly space. Today we return not as supplicants, but as saviors." James monitored the quantum field readings. Voidborn are concentrating their attacks on assembly power facilities. They'll have the entire sector consumed within hours. Not if we have anything to say about it. Sarah's voice carried the weight of command and the thrill of anticipation. "All ships, quantum drives engage on my mark." She allowed herself one last look at the tactical display, where assembly ships fled in disarray from an enemy they couldn't understand. Years of preparation, of learning, of pushing beyond known limits had led to this moment. Mark. The human fleet vanished from normal space, diving into quantum reality where the true battle would be fought. The assembly was about to learn what humanity had become in exile. Not just survivors, but innovators. Not just students of ancient technology, but masters of new possibilities. The real war was about to begin. Reality itself seemed to bend as humanity's fleet emerged from quantum space. The assembly's sensors registered their arrival as impossible energy patterns, ships appearing where no ships should exist. On the bridge of the flagship Quantum Forge, Admiral Chen watched their dramatic entrance through multiple layers of reality simultaneously. "All ships, combat formation Delta," she commanded through the neural network. "Target the largest quantum distortions. Show them what we've learned in exile." The human fleet moved with impossible precision, their quantum-enhanced systems allowing them to perceive both normal space and the shadowy realm where the Voidborn lurked. Assembly vessels hung motionless, their crews watching in stunned silence as the exiles they had dismissed as primitive demonstrated mastery over dimensions they couldn't even perceive. "Voidborn entities adjusting course," Maya reported, her calculations streaming through the neural interface. "They're recognizing us as a threat. Launch quantum resonance disruptors," Sarah ordered. "Dr. Rodriguez, you're up." James's voice carried through the fleet's command network. "Initiating primary sequence. All ships, synchronize your quantum fields on my mark." The Voidborn surged toward the human fleet, their massive forms rippling between realities. But where assembly weapons had passed harmlessly through them, humanity's quantum-enhanced technology struck true. The space between spaces lit up with energy as probability weapons forced the entities into single states, making them vulnerable. "First blood," James announced as a Voidborn entity collapsed into normal space, its multiple quantum states shredded by concentrated fire. The containment theory works. Through the quantum sensors, Sarah watched the remaining entities regroup, their movements showing something new. Hesitation. They've never faced resistance like this, she realized. "Maya, broadcast on all assembly frequencies. Let them see what's really happening." Across assembly space, command centers lit up with sensor data from the human fleet. For the first time, they could see their enemy, watch as humanity's ships danced through quantum space to engage them. "Admiral," Maya interrupted, large Voidborn concentration approaching Beta Colony. 15 million civilians in danger. Sarah's decision was instant. Battle Group 2, quantum jump to Beta Colony. Draw them away from the population center. Battle Group 3, prepare probability nets on my mark. The human fleet split with practiced precision, ships phasing between normal and quantum space. Where the Voidborn attacked, they found themselves trapped in carefully calculated probability fields. Their quantum nature turned against them. "Assembly vessels moving to support," James reported. "Transmitting quantum shield modifications to their ships now." Sarah nodded in approval. Even in the midst of battle, humanity demonstrated its true strength, not just fighting, but teaching, sharing, improving. Assembly ships began to adapt, their borrowed technology enhanced by human understanding. "Multiple Voidborn entities retreating," Maya announced. Their quantum signatures show increasing instability. They've never encountered unified resistance across multiple reality states. Through her neural interface, Sarah watched the battle unfold across dimensions. Assembly crews learning to use their modified systems, human ships leading the defense of worlds that had exiled them, void-born entities facing organized resistance for the first time in their ancient existence. "Status report," she commanded. 3 void-born entities destroyed, 7 forced into retreat. Maya responded. "Beta colony secured. Assembly fleet implementing our quantum modifications with 70% effectiveness. No civilian casualties." James's voice carried pride and exhaustion. The Assembly is seeing the true scope of the threat for the first time, and seeing what humanity has become. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Send tactical data to all Assembly command centers. Let them see exactly what their primitive exiles have accomplished." She paused, watching Assembly ships fall into formation alongside her fleet. "And prepare for Phase 2. The Voidborn will be back, and in greater numbers. They're already spreading the word," James reported. "Assembly communications are lighting up across known space. They're calling it the Return." Sarah studied the tactical display, where human and Assembly ships now moved in coordinated patterns, protecting populated worlds. "No," she corrected. "This isn't just a return. This is humanity showing the galaxy what innovation truly means. The battle was won, but the war was just beginning, and humanity was ready to lead the charge into a new age of understanding." The Great Hall of the Assembly had changed. Where once crystalline perfection had symbolized unchanging order, quantum sensors now cast shifting patterns across its surfaces. Admiral Chen stood before the gathered representatives, her neural interface transmitting real-time data as she spoke. "The Voidborn aren't retreating," she explained, projecting a tactical map of known space. "They're regrouping. Our victory at Beta Colony taught them caution, but it also showed them they need to adapt." High-speaker trill scales shifted in patterns of concern. "How long do we have?" 3 days, maybe 4. "Maya, show them the projection models." The AI filled the chamber with a complex holographic display, showing probability paths of the Voidborn's movements. Assembly representatives watched in fascination as human technology revealed layers of reality they had never known existed. "Your ships," First Observer Kell began, their crystalline form resonating with carefully controlled emotion. "They operate on principles we thought impossible." "No," Dr. Rodriguez corrected, stepping forward. "Principles you never try to understand. You found fragments of advanced technology and learned to copy them. We started from scratch, driven by necessity to understand the fundamental laws of reality." He gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show the quantum engine designs that powered the human fleet. "Everything we built came from true comprehension, not imitation. That's why we can fight the Voidborn, because we understand how they exist in multiple states simultaneously." The chamber erupted in overlapping harmonics as representatives debated among themselves. Sarah watched their reactions through her neural interface, noting the subtle shifts from fear to curiosity, from suspicion to hope. "We offer a full technological exchange," she announced, silencing the discussion. "Not just weapons and shields, but the underlying principles. The mathematical models, the quantum theories, everything we've learned about reality itself." "In exchange for what?" Trill asked, though their harmonics suggested they already knew the answer. "Partnership. True partnership, not dominance or submission, but a genuine combining of strengths, your resources and established infrastructure, our innovation and understanding. Together, we can drive the Voidborn from known space entirely." Maya's avatar appeared beside Sarah. "Admiral, new data from the quantum sensor network. The Voidborn are adapting faster than predicted. Their probability signatures show increasing complexity." James analyzed the data through his own neural interface. "They're learning from each encounter, finding ways to stabilize their quantum states against our weapons. If we don't act soon, Then we act now, Sarah decided. She faced the assembly. We don't have time for politics or old prejudices. The Voidborn are evolving. Either we evolve faster, or everything in known space dies. Trill rose, their scales shifting to decision patterns. The assembly accepts your offer of partnership. Our shipyards, our factories, our resources, all will be made available immediately. Good. Sarah nodded to James. Dr. Rodriguez will coordinate the technological integration. Maya will provide direct links to our quantum computing networks. Every moment counts. The next hours passed in a blur of activity. Assembly engineers worked alongside human scientists, learning to see reality through new eyes. Quantum principles that had seemed impossible began to make sense as humanity shared not just their technology, but their way of thinking. Admiral, Maya reported as the sun set outside the chamber. First wave of modified assembly ships coming online. Their crews are adapting to quantum space navigation faster than projected. Sarah watched through the great windows as ships of both civilizations maneuvered together, human vessels teaching assembly crews the intricacies of quantum combat. They're learning because they want to understand, not just use. That makes all the difference. James joined her at the window. The Voidborn won't expect this. They've never faced a unified response before, let alone one that can match their quantum nature. No, Sarah agreed, they haven't. And that's our advantage. Not just our technology or our numbers, but our ability to work together, to combine different perspectives into something new. She turned back to the busy chamber, where two civilizations were becoming something greater than either had been alone. The real question isn't whether we can win this war. It's what we'll become by fighting it together. The combined fleet of humanity and the assembly hung in quantum-enhanced formation around the Centauri Nexus. Through the Quantum Forge's advanced sensors, Admiral Chen watched the Voidborn gathering for their final assault. The dark entities had evolved, learning from each encounter, but so had the Alliance. All ships report ready, Maya announced, her calculations streaming through the neural network that now linked both civilizations' forces. Assembly crews are fully synchronized with quantum combat systems. Sarah nodded, sensing the readiness of her crews through the enhanced neural interface. Dr. Rodriguez, status of the quantum matrix. Stable and expanding. James replied from his position in the science bay. The assembly's power grid is fully integrated with our probability field generators. When the Voidborn arrive, they'll find something they've never encountered before. The tactical display flared with warnings. Reality itself seemed to bend as the Voidborn emerged from quantum space, their forms more coherent than ever before. They had learned to stabilize their quantum states, making them harder to disrupt. All ships, execute Formation Phoenix, Sarah commanded. The fleet moved as one, human and assembly vessels, flowing through quantum states in perfect harmony. Maya, initiate the resonance cascade. Waves of quantum energy pulsed from the fleet's combined generators, creating a web of probability fields that forced the Voidborn to exist in specific states. Where once they had shifted freely between realities, now they found themselves constrained. They're adapting, James warned, watching the entities attempt to phase through the quantum web. But so are we. Assembly ships, adjust your field harmonics to match human frequencies. The coordination between the two civilizations was seamless now. Assembly crews, who had once merely copied technology, now understood the principles behind it. Their innovations combined with human creativity, creating defensive patterns the Voidborn couldn't predict. First wave entering the kill zone, Maya reported. Probability nets at maximum strength. Sarah watched as the trapped Voidborn entities faced the full power of the Alliance. Ships from both civilizations struck in perfect synchronization, their weapons enhanced by true understanding of quantum mechanics. Where single shots had once barely affected the entities, combined fire now tore through their stabilized forms. Admiral, James called out, they're attempting to merge into a single quantum state. If they succeed. They won't, Sarah interrupted. All ships, execute Protocol Unity. The fleet's formation shifted again, creating a sphere of overlapping quantum fields. The Voidborn, caught in the center, found themselves forced into increasingly unstable states. Their attempt to combine was met with calculated chaos, human unpredictability enhanced by assembly precision. It's working, Maya confirmed. Their quantum signatures are destabilizing. They can't maintain coherence across multiple realities. Through her neural interface, Sarah felt the moment when victory became inevitable. The Voidborn, faced with a defense they couldn't comprehend and couldn't overcome, began to break apart. Their carefully maintained quantum states collapsed, forcing them fully into normal space where they could no longer exist. Final entities attempting to retreat, James reported. Assembly ships, maintain quantum containment. Human vessels, prepare killing shots. The battle's end was both spectacular and decisive. The last Voidborn, trapped in normal space by assembly quantum nets, fell to concentrated fire from human ships. Where darkness had once threatened to consume the galaxy, now only scattered energy readings remained. In the aftermath, Sarah stood in the assembly chamber once more. But this time, she wasn't an exile seeking redemption. She was a leader among equals, representing a new era of cooperation. The Voidborn are gone, she announced to the gathered representatives. But their legacy remains, not in fear or destruction, but in what we've become by facing them together. High Speaker Trill stepped forward, their scales showing patterns of deep respect. Humanity's exile was our greatest mistake, and our greatest fortune. Without it, we would never have learned to truly understand the technology we used, never have become more than mere copiers of ancient wisdom. The future belongs to those who seek to understand, not just use, James added. To those who see challenges as opportunities to grow, to innovate, to become more than they were. Sarah looked out at the assembled representatives of both civilizations, seeing not separate species but a unified force for progress. We were exiled as primitives, she said softly, but we returned as teachers. Now together, we'll build something entirely new.